Just like that, round 3 of the triple header is already here. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. We're coming from Barcelona, and GPBlog are on the ground again, of course. We've got a new face to Paddock update. We've got Kimberley, not Jim Kimberley, me. We've got Kimberley Hoefnagel speaking to us live on Thursday from the paddock, but everyone's still talking about Monaco. Two of the people who are the main culprits of the race, Alex Albon, George Russell. It sounds like the friendship hasn't really been affected from the tense times they had on track in Monte Carlo. What can you tell us about their loving relationship afterwards?
So last week we had a little incident between Albon and Russell, in which Russell kind of just went straight ahead where he should have gone through chicane. Well, we talked about that in the press conference for starters, and Russell kind of admitted that, I could have given the place back, but I probably would have done worse than I did now. So I didn't, and I wouldn't have taken the risk if I was already in the points, which he wasn't, so it was worth the risk. Then he did joke afterwards that Albon owed him dinner, and we could see it on social media. He actually went out for dinner afterwards, and Albon had some things to say about that, because during the press session today, he was asked about his dinner with Russell, and he was like, it was all good fun. He did order the most expensive thing on the menu, and everyone started laughing at that. And then he was like, no, actually he did. He ordered the lobster pasta. It was. He skipped dessert though, so it kind of evened out in the end. He did pay because he felt obligated to. Russell, all he said about it was the restaurant, wasn't expensive enough.
A little bit of payback for Russell style. I love that sort of stuff. Those guys have been friends for a long time, back from the F2 days. Let's talk about the winner as well. One of the other friends from that little relationship, Lando Norris. He's closed a gap to Piastri in the championship. It's the sort of thing we've spoken about on Paddock Update before, that Verstappen is obviously happy this is happening. They're taking points off each other. But I want to hear what they are thinking about the other way. Are they looking at it as a 2-car title fight, or is it 3 when Oscar and Lando are looking back at Max?
Yeah, so this was actually asked during a press conference, and Norris said, look, I don't know why you guys think it's just between me and Oscar, because you'd be stupid to think there's only the two of us still in this title fight. Who can blame him? We're only 8 races into this Formula One season. We only have a gap between 3 points between Oscar and Lando. So the two of them, are they still being seen as the favorites? Absolutely. But Max is Max. We've seen this in the past. Max maximizes his points. He even said this himself. He kind of emphasized, he's like, if the best is P5, I'll do P5. And if the best is winning, then, you try to win. But more than that, you can't really do. But Max maximizes what he can. You'd almost think that, his name was meant to be. Max,
he is very much in the championship fight. But McLaren, or the team's feeling a little bit like changes afoot, because we are looking at this long-awaited technical directive finally coming in to address the flexi-wing legality.
See, that's the thing that nobody in this paddock can actually agree on. A few weeks ago, I think everyone was still leaning towards McLaren being the people who are losing out the most with the new technical directive. But I've also heard some noises that Mercedes have been trying out the new wing in previous races, and that could be the reason why in Imola, but also in Monaco, they weren't at their best. So Mercedes seem to be also really impacted by it. I think the main thing is nobody knows. At this point, they haven't really driven with the new wing. If I look at the paddock as a whole, obviously some have tried it. Norris has, for example. Max says, I think it's mostly going to be the balance that's going to be hit and not necessarily going to lead to extra performance for certain teams. Leclerc said something similar to that. Then you had Sainz, which was actually a funny moment during the press conference. He kind of said, I think it's just going to be like 1/10 that, some teams are going to lose. And everyone was just kind of looking at him like 1/10 is 4 positions in this season, because everyone's so close together, and you could kind of seem like, right, that's true. So is it 1/10? I've also heard some people say 100. So nobody knows until the cars hit the track.
We'll find out very soon, Kim, and of course you're going to be there all weekend. Before I let you go, we're going to focus obviously on the weekend with you being on the ground in Barcelona, but I've heard that everything going on is still all about last weekend. Obviously social media has been full of criticism, but I know it's still the talk of the town in the F1 paddock. How frustrated and disappointed have people been now how Monaco turned out with this 2-stop mandate?
It's been interesting. I think Ocon put it really he kind of joked around about it, but he did have a point. He said, I don't understand why people are suddenly making a big deal out of this, because Monaco historically has not been a track that gives us exciting racing. He mentioned the last 10 years or so. And that's true. I mean, we all know that you don't necessarily go to Monaco for the overtakes because they don't happen that often. Most drivers kind of sit between, yeah, we want Monaco on the calendar because it is one of the most iconic races we have. It is glitz, it's glamour, it's, I think, one of the races that's been there since the beginning. And it's, for a lot of them, also their home race, which in a calendar with 24 races, it's nice to be able to sleep in your own bed after a race day. But they do want to be able to overtake. They do want to be able to give us the spectacle we, in their words, deserve. But will you get that with Monaco? Ocon said, look, because someone suggested we could make a Formula 2 race out of this, so no pit stops at all. Yeah, he did not agree with that. He was like, the mechanics will have an easy day. We're not going to do that. Ocon also said that we could also take the DRS, but then have the drivers turn it off when they want to, and that could also lead to kind of more, interesting racing. But he said, yeah, the FIA aren't going to go for that. Someone also suggested maybe we should do like 3 pit stops in Monaco, because why not? But that does not sound like a good idea. So I think the overall consensus is something needs to change with Monaco, but Monaco does deserve a place on the calendar. Yeah, it's not the track, it's the cars. What are you going to do about it?
Maybe next year. It sounds like the 2026 cars, of course, going to be very, very different. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if there's going to be 3 pit stops or sprinklers on track or any of the crazy ideas coming out of it. But we're going to focus on the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. And it's going to be a bit of a different one. Technical directive we mentioned already. You can see how that shakes the championship order up, if at all. And Kim, you're going to be on the ground the entire weekend to talk us through all of it. So thank you for everything we've had from Thursday. Keep in touch on social media and the GPBlog.com to get anything else from the team and Kim on the ground. And thank you everybody else for watching.